It's more noise. It's Mount Noise, but noisier. It's like more commentary, less of the fancy stuff, more of just the rambles. That's where you found yourself, more noise. Mount Noise, but noisier. And today, me, Isaac, I'm going to be talking us through the New Zealand Music Awards, formerly known as the Vodafone New Zealand Music Awards, now known as the Aotearoa Music Awards. When the 2025 finalists were announced, I got a bit obsessed and I did a bit of a deep dive into the last 10 years of the Aotearoa Music Awards, because every year they come by, every year I kind of pay attention, more on that later, and then the next time it rolls around, I can't remember anything that happened last year, and I was just curious. I had some questions. Who's the most successful act according to the Music Awards? Because I don't really know. Does anyone know what Music Awards mean? I guess we all create our own meaning in this world, so you can answer that for yourselves. But it definitely does mean something than success in some of the music scenes I've been in, which don't have much crossover with the Music Awards. But it's not just pop all the time. It's this weird mix. It's an industry thing. So, I dove deep into the G Sheets, the Google Sheets, and compiled a 10-year database of award winners to try and answer that question. Answer other questions like who's the most successful, who's been nominated the most without winning, who's won the most. I mean, just the basic questions. So we're going to dive into it. I've got some interesting things came out. Before that, if you haven't subscribed to Mount Noise, go subscribe to the newsletter on Substack. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel Mount Noise. There may or may not be any videos up on the air, but they're in development. They are coming. I'm going to clarify a couple of things. I'm going to talk about the big 3 awards. Confusingly, they are made up of 4 awards. For the purposes of the big 3, it's going to be Album of the Year, Single of the Year, and then Best Solo Artist, Best Group put together into the big 3. The reason I've separated them off like that is, aside from a little historical wrinkle back in the day, which I will also talk about, you can't really win solo and group. You're either a solo or you're a group. So they're going to be fused together into that. And the reason those 3 are the big 3 is also because they are voted on completely differently to all the other categories. And maybe we'll talk about that later as well. So that's what the big 3 is. We're going to jump into it. Drum roll, please. The most successful act in New Zealand of the last 10 years is, of course, LAB. That's right, LAB. The roots band, founded by the Cora brothers. They have had 16 nominations across 7 years and share the honour of the most wins with Benny, which is at 9 wins. So if you look in straight numbers, LAB, Benny, tied on 9 wins. In that same 10-year period, though, however, LAB have accrued many stats that kind of stack them in that number 1 spot. They've had the most nominations at 16, whereas Benny's only had the 11. So 16 nominations. They've won 9 of them. Only 2 acts, you ready for this? Stat attack. Only 2 acts, I'm reading here as well. Only 2 acts have won the treble in a single year. So remember, the big 3? The treble is winning all 3 in a single year. You win either solo or group, you win the best album, you win best single. Only 2 acts in the last 10 years have done that all in 1 year. Interestingly, pop act Broods did it in 2016. So they're probably historically a bit underrated. Not many people would assume that, but they did the treble in 2016. The second group is LAB. LAB did it 2 years in a row, though. They did it 2021 and 2022. They won Best Group, best album, best single. Next year, best group, best album, best single. And in fact, LAB have been on a run being nominated for an award every year since 2018. With this year, 2025, being the first since 2019 that LAB hasn't received a best single nomination. So for all those reasons, LAB is the most successful band in New Zealand over the last decade. They are the artist of the decade according to the Music Awards. Now, is LAB one of my favourite bands? No. To be honest, I'm not very familiar with them. I know some people maybe don't find as much value in it, but also they sell a lot of tickets. What does it all mean? I'm not sure. But according to the Aotearoa Music Awards, LAB is the artist of the decade. Now, you may have been surprised by LAB. Some of you might have been thinking of a little band called 660. Now, I would hazard a guess that 660 in terms of tickets sold are probably, well, there's Lord as well, and we'll get to that. But LAB over 660, interesting. Here's an even more interesting stat. In terms of nominations, I said LAB was the highest at 16 nominations. 660 is second with 15 nominations across the last decade. They only have one win. 660 have been nominated 15 times for awards that are voted on and have won one of them. Whereas LAB have gone 16 nominations, 9 wins. What does that say about the Aotearoa Music Awards and how they view LAB and 660? I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but it says to me, it's not just about success, quote unquote, data. They do have like a radio play award. That radio play award is like pure math, who got the most plays, and 660 have won that over and over and over again. I haven't included that in this because it wasn't voted on, and that's the key thing. Votes. This is voted on either by the Academy. The big three are voted on by about over 300 music industry people and musicians. It's not, they don't say who. This year they have done a big breakdown of the Academy, but the Academy only votes on the big big three categories. The rest of the categories are voted on by, like, they're called specialist schools, the Artisan Awards. So they're meant to be, I guess, people with knowledge of the genre, knowledge of the industry, scene, whatever. And yeah, both those people and the Academy have both, voted not for 660 over and over and over again. Is there some politics in there? Is it a music thing? Can you argue that 660 and LAB don't kind of sound the same? I don't know. I'll leave that one up to you. 660 won Best Group in 2018. Since then, it's now 2025. Since that 660 win in 2018, only 2 bands have won Best Group. LAB and the Beths. It's only been one of those 2 since 2018. So 2019, the Beths. 2020, the Beths. 2021, LAB, that was the treble year. 2022, LAB, another treble year. And then 2024, the Beths. The Beths are incredibly successful at the AMAs. I actually had no idea about this. I really like the Beths. I think there's an argument for them being like the best band by what you usually mean the best band operating right now commercially, the quality of the music, how hard they're working, the kind of gigs and the kind of success they're having. And I kind of thought that just wouldn't have any overlap with the awards at all, but it turns out the Beths are essentially the third most decorated band of the last 10 years. They're drawn 7 wins across the last 10 years, which is a draw with Broods, but they've had 2 more nominations as well in that time period. And yeah, I thought that was a crazy stat. Best group has only ever gone to LAB or the Beth since 2018. And we're filming this video before 2025, we're like 3 days away from this year's ceremony where we find the winners. We're going to do a little prediction, what this data tells us about the predictions. But if we've got a group for 2025, no Beths, but LAB is in there. So this could be the 6th year in a row that one of those two bands wins Best Group. Will they do it? Stick around and find out whether I think they will. I suppose in terms of like totals, let's talk totals. We'll go to the full list. Let's go totals. LAB and Benny, top spot with 9. The Beths and Broods, second spot with 7 each. The next group, there's 3 tied on 5. I'll give you a moment to guess who the next 3 artists are in that list. So we've had LAB, Benny, we've had the Beths, Broods, and you know it's not 660, so I'll give you a moment. Pause the video. Why am I pausing? You pause, think. Okay. It's Marlon Williams, Troy Kingi, and Lord, which I would have expected Lord to be there. I was not overly surprised that Marlon was there, but like I thought it was cool. Troy Kingi, alongside another artist, Tammy Nielsen, are like low-key incredibly rated by the Aotearoa Music Awards. Tammy Nielsen's next on 4, but Troy Kingi and Tammy Nielsen have been nominated 13 and 11 times. So we've done the big numbers. We've talked about LAB and 660. We've talked about the Beths. Let's do a little bit of a cauldron of quick facts. Okay, so 1. Benny has the longest consecutive win streak in any category after claiming Best Pop Artist 4 times in a row between 2019 and 2022. Marlon Williams and Broods are the only winners of any Big 3 awards in the last decade that have close ties to the South Island. Teeks is the only Best Māori Artist nominee, not even winner, nominee, to have also won a Big 3 award. That was for the Best Solo Artist in 2021. So the only Best Māori Artist nominee or finalist to have also won a Big 3 award was Teeks in 2021. One of the figures you'll see all over the social media, all over the website is Stan Walker. Stan Walker is all over it because Stan Walker is, by all accounts, a very good pop artist. Is also extremely good looking and very, I don't know, could you say like TV friendly, I would also say. So I was super surprised to find out that Stan Walker has the same amount of nominations as Lord, but he has yet to win. He has not been awarded a prize by the judging. Either the Academy or the smaller artisan schools have not given Stan Walker a voted category prize. I find that so interesting when he is so front and center. He's performed at heaps of them and he just hasn't got it. He hasn't been given it. Now, Stan Walker was awarded the first ever Te Manu Matarai Award presented by Tamaiti. And it was introduced to recognise those that have made a significant impact on the music landscape during the eligibility period. So it's like a recognition of sorts, even though all the awards he was up for in that year, what was that, 2024? He didn't win a single one. 2024, he was a album finalist, didn't win. He was a single finalist, did not win. He was a solo finalist, did not win, but he got given that award. So I find that really interesting. You know, embraced by the institution of the Aotearoa Music Awards, not embraced by the voters. He is nominated for all of those awards. No, he just solo and single this year. So maybe this year's your year, Stan. Unknown Mortal Orchestra, Ruben Nielsen, Minchik's fame, is the only artist to have received nominations for both Best Group and Best Solo Artist within the same decade. I guess they just couldn't decide. And to be fair, he probably was more of a solo artist, which came first, than he was and then the band, and then it was live and it was a thing, whereas before he was just writing it. So, but I found that super interesting. The only person to get both, for the only group, the same outfit to get both solo and group nominations throughout the 10 years. However, Tom Scott has been nominated for Best Group with Homebrew and Best Solo Artist for Avondale Bowling Club. So he's kind of done it, but UMO, the same group, got it twice. Here is the last one. The Best Māori Artist category, from the finalists from 2024 and the finalists from 2025, they share 4 out of 6 of the same artists. Another way to say that is, of the 6 finalists in 2024, 4 of them are finalists again in 2025. So there's only 2 new finalists between those 2 years, which I'm not quite sure what that says. I'm not quite sure what that means, because we don't know. Maybe people didn't nominate themselves, so they couldn't be voted on to become finalists. Yeah, I don't know. And you know, I've asked these questions of recorded music in the AMAs, but they're understandably too busy putting on the award show to answer. But maybe we'll get some answers after the award show. Who knows? But yeah, what did you think? Was there any surprises in there? The Beths kind of surprised me. That I just thought they were just critically acclaimed, but turns out they're commercially and industry acclaimed as well. The LAB 660 thing was super weird, and the Stan Walker thing, I just assumed he'd won heaps, but no. This year though, Stan Walker this year, this is your year. What do you think? Who do you think will win? What do you think all this means? I mean, that's the big thing for me. What does this all mean? We'll try and get to the bottom of it. Again, thank you so much for watching, listening and watching. I'm Isaac. This has been More Noise, the noisier brother to Mount Noise, which is a newsletter you can subscribe to, a podcast you can listen to, and a YouTube channel you can watch, hopefully, new feature videos I'm working on with artists. So keep an eye on that space and stay out of trouble.